time for a little bi-weekly father-daughter ritual.
What else did you think could go wrong? 'Cause I've been trying to cope, but I can't see strong. What else did you think might be true? 'Cause I've been waiting too long for nothing to do.
So hey guys, a little bit of a crummy weather day, but it doesn't mean we can't get any projects done here. There's one thing I've been really wanting to get crossed off the list here before winter comes along, just a little improvement. So I've been really wanting to get this project wrapped up here, but you can see there's a bunch of standing water down there. I might try to use the wet vac once the weather changes a little bit, see if I get that sucked out of there without having to go out and rent a trash pump. So a couple videos back, we went out and checked the duck hunting pond. And I usually keep my duck hunting boat hung up there, especially in the off season, so it's not taking up a bunch of space down here on the ground. It's up and out of the way. And the Backwoods Life 90 had asked if I would show a little bit more detail on this. So maybe I'll show you guys that real quick. I'm not planning on using the boat here for a couple more weeks here. Early goose season starts right at the beginning of September. And I will probably, if weather permits, be hunting out of cornfields for some of that. Crops are just a little bit behind schedule, so I know some of the hay fields that are getting cut right along some of this where I usually hunt are just starting to get cut, and then the geese usually start coming in, especially when some of that corn starts getting turned into silage, then the geese really start flocking into that field. So if weather permits, that will be the plan, is to hunt out of there, but we may end up having to pull this down pretty quick and actually get out to the pond. So let's go over and take a look here real quick on how this works. So this is basically the setup on both sides, one for the front end and one for the back end of the boat. Really a pretty simple little setup. I just have a pulley here rated for, I believe it's a couple 100 pounds. Some rope, same sort of deal. I think this rope that I have here is rated for 400 pounds. Then I just have these hooks on here. So I hook up this here to the front end of the boat. I hook the other end of the rope up to something that can hold that weight, whether it's a four-wheeler, my Cub Cadet, a truck, and I'll pull it all the way up until I get pretty close to the top here. Then I will hook this other hook onto this, and this is what will actually end up holding a lot of the weight. After you had asked about this, you know, I started thinking about it. I've always used rope in the past, and I go, why don't I improve on that a little bit? So I just took some chain here, and I put another hook here, so it just clips on, and then after I get that hooked up, I just back the weight off. But I do still leave this here just as sort of an extra safety line there. And plus, then I don't have to keep crawling up and down to unhook it down there. So I just tie it to some of the posts off of the side. So for the front end part of the boat, since I'm transferring the weight up there with those two different clasps on there, I need something I can hook two of them onto. This single hole here won't work. I can only get one through there. Here with this chain, I know this is strong enough to be able to hold the boat. I can run one hook into here, the other one onto the other side, and it seems to work pretty well. Another option is you could take some rope through there or something like that, but I do like to take this off before the season actually starts because it's kind of noisy. So for the back end of the boat, obviously there's these plates here that are meant to be able to mount a motor on there, and there's a hole here, but there's a board that sits on the back here. So if I took this board off, I could probably run an eyelet or something like that where I could hook to, but this is what I came up with. I just ended up running just a bunch of rope here just so I knew there was a lot of extra strength sitting here, and I just run it through these two holes, and I hooked that other clasp onto this. So a pretty simple little setup. You could obviously go pretty crazy with this. You could even rig up some sort of system where you just had one thing that pulled, brought both ends up. You could probably go with bigger size pulleys, then it's a lot less power needed to be able to pull that boat up. A winch system, I mean, if you had some money to throw at a project like this, you could get pretty extravagant with it, but something we just threw together one fall, and it seems to work pretty good. Just bring one end up at a time, secure it, bring the other end up, secure it, and move on with life. hook this up. If you look here, there's actually really not even that much tension here on this rope here. So the next project I want to get done is I have this, which came off an old snowblower. It's to clear out the chute. You get that real wet, sticky snow. It sometimes will clog up the chute. Of course, you turn all that stuff off and you clear out. But this is pretty nice. And then you can brush the snowblower off as well, because a lot of times it's pretty warm when you get that snow. It's this wet, sticky stuff. And if you don't clear it all off, then it ends up turning into a big block of ice. So I like using these things to brush everything off when it's all said and done. So really a pretty simple little design. If you actually look at what this is, just a little spring clip and then a little nut and bolt on there. So we just got to make sure we have plenty of clearance. And you can see this thing just springs right on into it. I'm gonna go in and play with your chains. You got it all set up? All right.
Waiting.
You're waiting, okay. Well, hurry up here. So the Cub Cadet is not really a true white, the white that's on there. I do have some white paint here. I do want to get that, at least get it on here before I end up putting these fittings in here just to prevent any sort of rusting. Later I go down to Case now that owns International Harvester. And get the proper matching color here, and we'll touch it up. And I got to get a bunch of other spots on here, as you can see, cleaned up as well to put some of this rust to a stop. So. So we ended up getting that on there. It seems to be working pretty good, or holding on, so we'll find out this winter. That'll be the real test, but now it's time to go play with some trains. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.